So hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 8 of our F1 Manager 23 save here on the channel. Now, if you didn't watch the last episode, go back and watch that one because it was the Monaco Grand Prix, and to be fair, we did very, very well indeed. Max Verstappen won by just 46 seconds, but Esteban Ocon and Pierre Gasly finishing P6 and P8. Fantastic work from the guys, double points finish, and to be fair, it's not looking overly bad in terms of the standings. Constructors wise, we are Andretti Cadillac in P5, Red Bull pulling away with it as you would expect from Aston Martin in second. Who knows what that'll be like in real life in 2024. Ferrari and Mercedes in P3 and 4, then come us with a decent gap towards Williams. Driver standings wise, who else? Max Verstappen is leading the way, 6 race wins so far this season, just the 1 DNF. Checo Perez is his closest rival, 30 points behind. Our two guys matched quite evenly, 19 and 15 points for Gasly and Ocon respectively. And this weekend we head to Barcelona, and we head to Barcelona and the Circuit of Catalunya. We've got 66 laps around here. The expected strategy is a 2-stop, so we've got to get the strategy absolutely spot on this weekend. Top speed and medium speed cornering absolutely paramount around here. But one other thing that is paramount, and we've got to do this, as you can see in the top right hand corner, requires response, is this little scenario, because this has happened before and Pierre Gasly and Carol Lewis seem to fall out a little bit, and we can either intervene. Pierre Gasly's aggression will go up if we don't intervene and just let him get on with it. I don't believe we did last time, but I think this time we are going to intervene. And to be fair, Carol Lewis could be under threat, but we are going to try and intervene this time. I don't know if that's going to be any use at all as we proceed towards the weekend. We'll see how that goes on, but hopefully they can put it to one side and we're going to get into practice, and I'll see you in qualifying for the Spanish Grand Prix. Huge shock in Q1. Esteban Ocon is out of qualifying. I don't even know what to say for Esteban. Just didn't get the lap time in. Pierre Gasly in P13. But what a disappointing performance from Ocon. Pierre Gasly now, the one we're relying on to try and get into Q3. Round the final couple of corners comes Pierre Gasly. Can he improve and get himself in to Q3? Pierre Gasly crosses the line and stays P14. That is very, very worrying for our race on Sunday. P14 and P17. We've not been back here for a few races. Verstappen tops Q2, but both cars out in Q3. Right then, guys, so strategy-wise, now we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to go for Esteban Ocon. He's going to start on the medium. He's got 2 fresh sets of medium compound tyres, so he's going on to the mediums again. Finishing off on the softs is Esteban Ocon. Pierre Gasly's going to start on the soft, then try and get an undercut onto the mediums before going onto the softs again towards the end. We may change it with Pierre Gasly. I'm going to monitor his race probably a little bit differently from Pierre's. It's a 1:24.47 is the race time for him, a 1:24.46. So we're giving Esteban Ocon a second, apparently. But yeah, going to be very, very interesting. This 14th and 16th. Can we get some points? It's going to be tough.
The stage is set here in Barcelona as we get ready for 66 laps of the Spanish Grand Prix. Here's a determined Sainz lining up on the grid.
Starting P5 gives them a great position off the line. If they manage the race right, well, it could get even better.
Here we go. It's time to go racing. This is it. It's the Spanish Grand Prix. And it's lights out. And away we go.
Where we go, and Checo Perez on pole from Fernando Alonso, starting on the medium compounder tyre, is Checo Perez. Verstappen already jumping Fernando Alonso, but it is going to be Perez who leads away into turn 1. Esteban Ocon's had a massively bad start, and it's got to be said, so have a few other cars as well. That is possibly the biggest red flag we've ever seen, and I'm hoping we're going to get a replay. We are. Let's have a look at this. Is this the worst red flag on F1 Manager 23? Let's have a look at this. It's a massive domino effect. This car smashed to bits everywhere. Heavy breathing from Lewis Hamilton. That is an absolute shocker at the start of this race. So then, guys, we go to the strategy screen. So 20 minutes until the restart. I'm not sure who's got what damage. I'm guessing we were okay. So He's going to be in P15 on the restart, is Esteban Ocon, so he may as well go on to the medium compounded tyre. That's fine. There's no changes required there. Pierre Gasly, similarly, I think it's possibly worth sticking him on the soft compound tyre as well. No changes required, and we'll come back when we're back to 5 red lights. But what a start that was, as I'm hoping we're just going to flick to this now, as we do. But what an incident at the start. Can we get away well here? Again, as it goes towards 5 red lights, it's still Perez and Alonso. There was no changes at the front, but we have Norris, Hamilton and Albon out of the Grand Prix. Gasly straight away trying to make moves up into P12. Can he manage to gain some positions? And Esteban Ocon, suddenly points seem like they may be on the they may have an opportunity for points this weekend, as both our cars get a decent restart. We've got Esteban Ocon battling away with Bottas in the Audi. It's Andretti versus Audi with Bottas and Ocon really giving it a go around the outside here, but stays in P14. But Pierre Gasly straight away up to P12. But that incident at the start, I cannot get over that. Let me know if you've had a worse incident than that on F1 Manager, or you've seen it on anyone else's videos or streams. Please let me know, because that was a bad one. But now on lap 3, Perez leads the way from Alonso, Verstappen P3. Lap 7, Oscar Piastri having a bit of a mate. You can see there's a chunk out of that rear wing, and I don't know if that's what's constituted to that problem, but my word, did he run wide there. Oscar Piastri, I've got to say, if it was my McLaren, I would be retiring the car. But now Pierre Gasly is behind Nico Hülkenberg on the cusp of points. I'm just wondering, has anybody else got any significant damage? As we can see Leclerc and Russell going at it. Gasly is now up into P11. Ocon on the back of Bottas in P13. He could do with getting past Bottas ASAP. Could Esteban Ocon. In fact, we're going to tell him to start getting on with it now, because really he can then tag onto the back of his teammate and they can hopefully work the way up and past Nico Hülkenberg, because I think Pierre Gasly has got the pace on Nico Hülkenberg as we ride on board with him now down the inside. Will he go for the move here? He certainly will. Outbraking him down the inside. Pierre Gasly is past Nico Hülkenberg, and he's now going to be told to bolt away, use the ERS and try and pull himself up towards Russell. Ocon now is now in the fight with Bottas and Hülkenberg, but great move from Pierre. P10 now and into the points. We've got another crash on circuit. This could possibly, and oh my word, it's the leaders, Perez and Alonso going into turn 1 at Barcelona. What's going to happen here? And take your pick. Who is at fault there? Did Alonso turn in on him? Was it Perez's fault? Did he give him room? I think that may have been Alonso's fault, but we're going to have another look at it at some point. But let me know, whose fault is that? And the leaders once again collide as Gasly and Ocon are now increased up to P8 and P11. Join us back on lap 12, and we're going to ride on board with Pierre Gasly because he has got the best seat in the house to see Russell and Leclerc squabbling, and this has pulled him back into the fight for P6, believe it or not, for Pierre Gasly. Ocon still fighting away with Hülkenberg, but this is the view from Pierre Gasly's cockpit at the moment, because he can see the Mercedes and the Ferrari going at it, and he's loving this because all this is doing is allowing Pierre to get the DRS and stick with the two guys in front of him. They're running side by side, and to be fair, we're not far from pulling these guys behind up, because here comes Esteban Ocon. Is he going to go for the move? He certainly is. The same place that his teammate made that move earlier, and Esteban Ocon up into the points, and he can see in front of him the Audi of Valtteri Bottas, but it very much is a three-way scrap here between Hülkenberg, Ocon, Bottas for this final couple of points-paying positions. And let's have a look as we go down this start-finish straight. Pierre Gasly's got DRS. I don't know if Nico Hülkenberg has. I'm presuming he has. He has. Both of them have got DRS. And is Esteban Ocon going to be able to make this stick? We're actually going to tell Ocon to be aggressive on the overtaking, which he is. He's at peak confidence at the moment. And Esteban Ocon is up into P10. Lap 16, and it's a drag race between Pierre Gasly and George Russell. George Russell's tyres are practically gone, and Pierre Gasly's up into P7. He's got Leclerc behind him. Russell sticks his nose in still, but Pierre Gasly is making this look very, very easy today, as is Esteban Ocon. And at the moment, Esteban Ocon's broken the DRS of Valtteri Bottas as well, so something else just to keep your eye on, as Esteban Ocon is on 65% tyres. Bottas's tyres are going to start to fall away from him a little bit in a moment. We're just going to go a little bit more aggressive on the tyres now with Ocon. I want to keep Bottas out of DRS range if I possibly can. And as we can see, Gasly is just enjoying his day and now going head-to-head with a Ferrari for P6. And I've got to say, Magnussen and Zhou and Stroll, could we possibly get these guys as well, as Gasly makes it count with the DRS. He's past Charles Leclerc and up into P6. And meanwhile, that little burst of ERS has meant that Esteban Ocon pulls 1.6 seconds to Valtteri Bottas. Great from him, and he won't be far off catching the Mercedes of George Russell either. Lap 20, Pierre Gasly is going to be coming into the pits very, very shortly indeed. Esteban Ocon has been pushing his tyres to try and catch Charles Leclerc. I'm not convinced he's got the DRS. He hasn't. So he's just settling down a bit more now, Pierre Gasly, just to recoup a little bit of fuel and everything. Sainz has had a pit stop issue. The main aim of this was to try and get out in front of Oscar Piastri. Was the man we were trying to get out in front of. If we managed to jump George Russell as well, that would be absolutely lovely. As we see Perez hurtling down the pit lane. Gasly coming out. Are we going to get out in front of George Russell? I don't think we are, but we are going to get out in front of Oscar Piastri. So now, Pierre Gasly on the fresh medium compounder tyre. He's got to get these up to temperature, which I'm sure we will push, and get in the DRS of George Russell, who's on the hard compounder tyre. Meanwhile, Ocon is on the back of Leclerc. Lap 22, another yellow flag, and this time it's Daniel Ricciardo, the Hugo Boss car, that was battling with Carlos Sainz. He locks up, well, both front tyres to be fair. Very, very fortunate. There's a lot of runoff area, and the gravel slowed him down, so Daniel Ricciardo losing places. And as you can see, now back on circuit, but Pierre Gasly is right on the back of George Russell. This is working an absolute treat. They've caught Magnussen, and to be fair, I think there's a possibility that we could catch Zhou Guanyu. Esteban Ocon trundling along lovely. He's just been topping up his ERS at this moment in time on the back of the Ferrari, which has got obvious pace. But I think anything's possible here today, I really do. And Pierre Gasly, when he's in the mood, which he is at the moment, he could do it, just getting past George Russell and using these tyres a little bit more than he possibly is doing. But he will time it right, I've no doubt about that. But at the moment, the DRS from Magnussen to Russell is just helping him out a little bit. But Pierre Gasly definitely stalking these cars in front. Lap 23, Ocon has got past Leclerc. He's been looking like he's fancying it, and he certainly has. If you would have told me on Saturday qualifying, after Saturday qualifying, we would be fighting with Ferraris, I would have told you to get out of the paddock, because really we didn't think we were going to be fighting up here today. But Pierre Gasly doing very well. It must be said, Pierre Gasly only giving one-word answers to his race engineer at the moment. But yeah, I don't know if that's just because they're not getting on or whether Pierre Gasly's just in the groove. But either way, he's on the back of George Russell, and Magnussen is starting to pull away. We need to clear George Russell quickly, as Piastri has a pit stop issue. It's not been Piastri's day. Lap 25. Esteban Ocon is in to the pits. He's going on to another set of medium compound tyre. It must be said he's enjoyed that tyre today. It's a 2.9 second pit stop. We need to get these pit stops sorted out. It must be said he's going to slot in front of Fernando Alonso, and to be fair, that was the gap I was hoping for. But Fernando's into the pits. He'll be absolutely gutted, as he started on the front row. But Esteban Ocon out into clear air. Lovely work from the team, and Esteban out in to P10. Fresh set of tyres, and he's got a fair bit of work to do now. But we're just going to tell him to be aggressive, get those tyres fired up as he will. Meanwhile, Pierre Gasly was pushing to try and catch Kevin Magnussen, but hasn't quite managed to do it. We are just going to tell him to deploy a little bit more. I hope we can get into the DRS of this ass, because if we can, that could be big for our race. But we are dropping George Russell at a rate of knots. Lap 26. Lap 28, Charles Leclerc has just pit. I believe he's gone on to hard compound tyres, maybe trying the one stop. But Charles Leclerc has dropped 2 positions and dropped about, what, 4-5 seconds to Esteban Ocon, who's now in clean air and just cruising up to the back of George Russell. And it must be said, George Russell's had no pace all afternoon. I'm wondering if there's a problem with George Russell's car, because at this moment in time, he's not enjoying himself at all. Let's just have a look. Car condition for George Russell. Has he got an issue? He has. He's got an engine that's absolutely buggered and an ERS that is as well. Why they've not took engine penalties, or maybe it was caused by that collision at the start of the Grand Prix. But George Russell, he's not even in this race. Esteban Ocon will cruise past him when he finally gets there, and it won't be long at all before he does. Pierre Gasly can't catch Magnussen. Magnussen on the hard compound tyre, lapping in the 117s, Gasly in the 118s, but he is just charging his battery, lap 29. It's got to be said, Ocon and his race engineer seem a lot more jovial on the radio, because he's just stormed past George Russell, who's got the engine of a Vauxhall Corsa in it at this moment in time. That Mercedes car, Esteban Ocon, past the Mercedes and up in to P7. Pierre Gasly running P6, so it's 6th and 7th for the Andretti Cadillacs at the moment. Looking at the cars in front, looking at their lap times, might be difficult to make an impression on this top 5, but we haven't given up hope just yet. And just for a bit of banter, I've just told Pierre Gasly's race engineer to let him through and tell him not to fight Esteban Ocon, because there's no point in fighting him at this moment in time. Gasly's going to be coming in a little bit earlier than Esteban is, so there's no point at this moment in time. He might as well just make it last, use Esteban's pace, because Esteban is the quicker car at this moment in time, and hopefully drag us up to the back of his teammate. So we're just going to tell him now, don't fight your teammate, go back to normal, maybe use this opportunity just to charge up a little bit, which he is doing. The McLaren you can see in the background's not fighting us at all, so that's not a problem. Esteban's going to be coming in a little longer time, shall we? Little longer time? That's not English. But yeah, Ocon is going to be coming in later than Pierre Gasly. So at the moment, we're just getting into that final pit stop window. The prize is, can we get Kevin Magnussen for P4 and also negate Charles Leclerc? Because I'm not convinced Charles Leclerc is pitting again. Magnussen boxes, as does Pierre Gasly. Now, this is going to be very, very interesting indeed. Who goes on to what? Just before that, we're just going to tell Esteban Ocon to come in as well. He's going onto the soft compound tyre at the end of this stint. So both Andretti's are going to be on the softs towards the end. Let's hope for no mistakes here. Pierre Gasly, it's 2.6. It's good from the team. Kevin Magnussen is out and he's onto the medium, that looked like. I'm going to suggest that's a medium compounder tyre. I think it is. So mediums play soft against these two cars. I hope that's correct. Let me just make sure when he comes out of the pits. That's definitely medium, isn't it? Where are we? Medium compounder tyres play soft compounder tyres. Where did Gasly come out? He's got Yuki Tsunoda in front of him. He needs to get past this Hugo Boss car at a rate of knots. We're going to tell him to deploy and get past him quickly. Ocon, he's going to be told on this final lap to give it the absolute beans, because when he comes back out, he doesn't want to be stuck behind this Hugo Boss. Esteban Ocon, we've caught it a little bit late. We can see Gasly and Tsunoda going down the outside of him. Ocon's lost the position to Gasly, but I don't think he'll be ultimately too upset about that. Gasly's now got past, so now it's the same situation once again with Esteban Ocon. If we, I've got lots to show you here, just bear with me. So we've got Esteban Ocon now out into P11. He has got to get past this Hugo Boss car of Yuki Tsunoda. Same situation as Pierre Gasly was in moments ago, and now Pierre Gasly has got some work to do on these tyres. Magnussen has already got past Fernando Alonso. Verstappen's in again. Esteban Ocon is the next car we're going to have a look at, because Esteban has got to get past this car. Let's have a little look. He's got the tyres up to temperature now, Pierre Gasly, so we're just going to tell him to calm down a little bit on that.
Back a little bit.
But as you can see, Esteban Ocon, not quite yet, but I would expect on the next DRS straight, he will get the chance to get past Yuki Tsunoda. 16 laps to go. Our Andretti's have got some overtaking to do. Esteban Ocon, it took a little bit longer than we thought it would, but he is now up into P10. We were absolutely pushing on the tyres, the fuel, the ERS, everything to get past that Hugo Boss, and finally, we managed to get past it. So to Yuki Tsunoda, down now to P11. We've now just got to settle down on the tyres and everything. Same with Pierre Gasly, and let this race come to us. We've got a couple of cars in front of us. Alonso's yet to pit. Leclerc, Perez, possibly Sainz. I would expect Sainz to go to the end. But there goes Esteban Ocon flying past Pierre Gasly. Gasly looked to let him go, and we have got 15 laps yet to go. It's an highlighter moment here because now Esteban Ocon, he caught up to Fernando Alonso and he got past Fernando Alonso. Great work from Esteban Ocon. He's up now in to P8, and Pierre Gasly is not that far behind. He will be catching Fernando very, very quickly, I would imagine. And as we can see, as we come down the start-finish straight, he is going to get DRS as Checo Perez is into the pit lane. The Red Bull not having the best of afternoons. Pierre Gasly will hopefully catch Alonso, but Ocon might just have to do his mate a favour and get away from Fernando to stop giving him that DRS. But this is an exciting race. At the front, it's Stroll versus Verstappen for the win, but the points paying positions is where it's all happening. And as I said, Fernando Alonso, we've managed to push with Esteban Ocon. We got Fernando out of that DRS, and he fell into the DRS of Pierre Gasly. And with the soft compounder tyre, he's been driving wonderfully all day as Pierre Gasly, and he's passed the Aston Martin up into P8. So it's P7 and P8 now. Can we possibly catch Kevin Magnussen? I doubt it, but you never know. Lance Stroll locking up at turn 5. He just lost the lead to Max Verstappen, and let's have a little look at this, because Lance Stroll, can he do it when the pressure's on in to the gravel trap? What that has meant is that Leclerc as well, he's fell into the trap, and look at this. The Ferrari is under attack from 2 Andretti Cadillacs as Esteban Ocon is past Charles Leclerc. Now, will Pierre Gasly, his mate, following through? Let's have a little look at this. Of course he will. Esteban Ocon round gets it done, as does Pierre Gasly. It's 6th and 7th now for the Andrettis. They are in DRS range. Could they possibly DRS train each other and get up to Kevin Magnussen? I'm also very wary of the flying Red Bull of Checo Perez behind, who, remember, started on pole position today. But now the target is Magnussen with 7 laps to go. I just mentioned I was a little bit scared of Checo Perez. As you can see, our 2 guys driving in formation. But then Checo Perez went and did this. Decided to lock up, and as we got that fantastic replay there, he went into the gravel trap, and that's lost in positions. A lot of teams have made mistakes today. Our 2 guys don't seem to be, and I think we're going to have a push now. We're going to push now. Push, and try and get up to the back of this Haas, because if we can get in DRS, there's half a chance we might be able to get him. Last lap of the Grand Prix and last couple of corners for Max Verstappen, who's going to come across the line and win the Spanish Grand Prix. It's Red Bull dominance again, but we're going to ride on board with our 2 guys because we've told them, keep it clean, and you know what, boys? Go and race. It's P6 and P7. We aren't going to catch the Haas of Kevin Magnussen. We aren't going to lose a position to Yuki Tsunoda in the Hugo Boss. So now it's all up to these guys. Do what you please. I'm going to tell both of them it's both on neutral. From our point of view, we're not going to tell them to be aggressive. The worst thing that could happen is if our guys ran into each other here. But both our guys now, we'll tell them to push on the fuel a little bit. And this is it. Can Esteban Ocon defend from Pierre Gasly? It's been a very, very interesting race here in Barcelona this afternoon. We've beat a Ferrari. We've beat a Mercedes. We beat 2 Mercedes, in fact. We beat a McLaren. We couldn't quite catch the Haas in front of us of Magnussen and the Williams of Zhou in P4. What a performance. But Esteban Ocon will cross the line, and Gasly. It's P6, P7. That can only help the tensions between him and his race engineer. And Pecci is just telling Ocon how happy he is, and we're very happy as well. Let's get to the podium.
Now that's an excellent drive today from Esteban Ocon.
I tell you what, they had to work hard for those points today. What a phenomenal achievement that is.
That makes it all worth it, doesn't it? Seeing your team ready to share the celebrations. Well, Max Verstappen can add yet another podium to his already impressive record.
It almost feels like it doesn't need saying after a 7th win, but another stunning performance today.
Verstappen, despite that fantastic camera angle, will get the champagne and get another winner's trophy. And we're getting so used to seeing this, aren't we, from the Red Bull driver. He's been absolutely fantastic once again. Lance Stroll, despite that mistake, manages to keep his P2. But where do we start? We see that Carlos Sainz in P3, Zhou Guanyu P4 for Williams. It's P5 for the Haas of Kevin Magnussen. Ocon gains 10 positions up into P6, and similarly Gasly into P7, gaining 7 positions. The 2 Andretti Cadillacs scoring points again. Yuki Tsunoda, vote for driver of the day, in P8, gaining 12 positions, because let's face it, these 3 guys at the start, that was possibly, I'm going to make a YouTube short of that, that was possibly one of the most chaotic turn 1s I've ever seen on F1 Manager. Driver standings wise, Max Verstappen on 190 points from Checo Perez on 137. Gasly overtakes Lewis Hamilton, as does Esteban Ocon. We're up to P8 and P9 now in the driver standings, 25 and 23 points respectively. And I'm assuming that there's going to be a few changes in the constructors as well. We're still in P5, on to 48 points. We do gain points on Williams and Haas below us, despite Kevin Magnussen's heroics and Zhou Guanyu's. But Red Bull running away with it, already have over 100 point gap to Aston Martin, but Lance Stroll was leading the charge. Well, I hope you've enjoyed that one. I'm absolutely breathless after commentating on that, and even the bits in between. It was stressful from start to finish, but our 2 guys, disciplined, cautious, overtaking at the right times, aggressive when they needed to be. We've got 2 very good drivers here at Andretti Cadillac, and I'm hoping we can give them the car that will get them to a world title eventually. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Ta-ra!